Rico's wife. Rico was sitting at the table and a gaping fish mouth was staring at him from the plate. His dinner-stained shirt was as much of a concern to him at the moment as the throwing of the fish, if only it could speak from the platter. His numb hands couldn't move and he didn't know whether to decide to use a fork now or, whether to reach for a piece of fish at all, if only his sons' heads could speak after death. But no. The fish-like openings are silent, cut off from their beloved bodies, and Rico bristles at the mere thought that he must inform his spouse about it and more. He must tell about the betrayal of the sons and what it means for him, for her, and for their daughter. Or rather, how much of a danger hangs over his own head, from the direction of TS053's principal, now from the actual buyer, from Hombre and Tiago, who do not have to believe in his defeat. After all, these are the heads of his sons. Well, let's say they weren't his sons, and you don't know who they really look like. The fact that he loved them as his own, and lest the truth be revealed, sent them to schools far away as quickly as possible, and richly equipping them with everything the young men needed. Despite engaging in studies with which they had no problems, they both disappeared from view. Rico continued to mail checks and took little interest in boys, having his own problems and activities. Rico's wife was quick and ate on the other side of the table with appetite, shaking her jaw and ignoring the smudged lipstick. She drank the white wine in short, small gulps, putting the glass down messily. She must have been a pretty woman, but fate, or perhaps character, had marked her face with a somber line, far from a thoughtful line. "They're dead," Rico blurted out, scowling at his wife. "Don't scare, who is it?" Rico talked about the suitcase and the bolsa and the heads. About the fact that it is cut off and that it is expressionless. About Eduardo and Tiago and about TS053. The woman fell into the armchair and then ran around the room, despairing and tearing her hair. "I'll revenge. I'll take revenge on them all. They will lose their children too." She moaned and cried. Suddenly she sat on the floor, legs straightened like a doll's, and swayed quite calmly, humming some of her old tunes. Something twisted inside her, and Rico only scared now when he saw the change. He was always afraid of her, even more of her ideas, and most of her plans. This time he was terrified. He walked over to her and helped her to her feet, wrapped the shawl around her, and went into the kitchen for some tranquilizers. When he came back she was standing as he had left her, beside the sandwich, staring at the window. She didn't say a word that evening. And the weirdest thing was she didn't ask Rico if it wasn't him who killed them. Rico thought about it and was amazed by one more fact, that his mother hadn't asked where the bodies of her children were. But now he couldn't bother with it. He had to act, and despite the suspicions, he had to act with Tiago and Hombre. Yes, to get to the heart of the matter as soon as possible. If he knew, he would have sent a helicopter there with his men. But such a rush is advisable only when catching fleas. Start at www.kubi.pl and chapter TS001 in 91 languages.